We listened to Tim Kirchin talk about how the Orioles should be spenders, and he feels like this is the one year. And he talked about a lot of guys that you're going to be competing with, and one of the names he mentioned was actually Kyle Tucker. It's a guy who fits. Hey, they need outfield help, but does that mean that it's going to be as easy as the Orioles call a guy like Kyle Tucker and go, hey, you want to come to Baltimore? And he's going to say yes? Absolutely not. And actually, they talked about it on MLB Network as well earlier about just Kyle Tucker's, what does his offseason outlook and what do his pursuers look like? So let's listen to that and we can react on the other side.
Thought would be the biggest name on this year's free agent market, and I guess arguably it still is.
Sure.
And that's Kyle Tucker, out there with a whole different set of variables now than what we were guessing would be around him in April and May when he was flourishing in his first months with the Cubs.
He's a fascinating case, Matt and Harold, and certainly we've been talking a lot around the lobby. Where's Kyle Tucker going to go? And I will again reference the National League West, the team that a lot of executives, different media folks, certainly agent speculation about where he might wind up. The Dodgers keep coming up. And while that might elicit a sigh from baseball fans around the continent, the reality is the Dodgers have a lot of money coming off of their books. The Dodgers have money to spend, and that is a frightening possibility, I know, for a lot of different people. Their outfield, and Joel Sherman made this point earlier in the week, their outfield at the end of those games did not necessarily have superstars and all-stars all over the place. There's actually room to improve there. And the other team, and again, I'll reference the Giants here, they need, I believe, one more big-time bat. And if you start to think about if they're able to sign a Tucker to go along with Devers, Eldridge growing in, Chapman, Adames, that's a pretty good lineup.
Well, the thing about the Dodgers, everybody keeps forgetting, Shohei Ohtani makes $2 million a year. I mean,
helps keep him a little leaner.
That does.
Yep.
Big time.
So, good point.
But I can see the Giants. Buster did say one point, I was watching MLB Tonight, and you were talking about this. He said they need to improve their outfield defense. And Tucker's a premier defender.
He is.
So that might be a spot that lands there, too.
I think about Tucker in right field there. That'd be a tremendous
But I think the money for Tucker brings him back into the fold for a lot of teams. That $500 million was eliminating a lot of teams. And I don't think he gets to $500 million.
I think you're right.
That brings him back to the fold of being reachable to a lot of clubs. I still think he's going back to the Astros.
All right.
Going back to the
Stros. I did not expect that. I'm not going to lie. I didn't watch the full clip before. I did not expect him to say that at all. That was, talk about planting a flag. Wow.
You know what? I know the Stros, they're going to have to make some decisions. And we talked about earlier, I don't see the Framber reunion with how things ended. He very well could go back to Houston. If I'm Kyle Tucker, though, and you want to win, going to the Dodgers, that's pretty damn fun. That's a good team, and everyone would hate it.
Listen.
He is a East Coast guy, though, so there could be the appeal there. He's going to have to figure out what he wants. What does he value? Because my guess is, Zach, there's going to be some pretty similar deals for who wants him. And I think he's gonna get the choice of where he wants to pick and choose. If I were to guess, I would say there's probably going to be 6 teams at least that are like legitimate. Hey, we want you, and then maybe 3 of those might get outbid, but none of them would be out. If he truly wants to be at a place, he's going to pick where he wants to go. So, and I hate for Orioles fans, he's going to have to be very convinced to come to Baltimore, just like a lot of people. And that's the part that people hate with this conversation. I love Baltimore. We're from this area. We know what it brings. But if you're not from here, why do you want to be here? And that's a big thing. It's a huge thing that's going to go into it. If Kyle Tucker goes to the Dodgers, though, they
listen. We want to talk about the annoying part about the Dodgers and like why it's so annoying that conversation there was so annoying because Morosi goes, well, the Dodgers need, some defensive help. So, go send $400 million to Kyle Tucker, who's also a premier bat in this league. It's like they need a little defensive help in the outfield. We'll casually just go and grab the top free agent outfielder. Let's not get a depth guy. Let's just go grab the $400 million man. But What a fleece this whole the trade for the Astros would be if he ended up back there. I mean, that would be unbelievable. Getting Cam Smith and then getting Kyle Tucker right back would be an absolute. I mean, it would make what the Orioles did to the Cubs look, not as impressive. A little bit, a few levels above that, but I think we're going to see the usual suitors. It's going to be the New York Yankees. It's going to be the Chicago Cubs. I think it's going to be the Giants, and it's going to be the Dodgers. I think those are the 4 teams that's going to come down to. If I had to pick at the moment, I think it's probably leaning Dodgers. If the Dodgers want this to happen, the Dodgers are going to make it happen. They can pay to make it happen. I'm intrigued. I don't think the Mets would be in on him. I'm trying to think, especially after Soto. I don't know if that's where they're, I think they're kind of focused on maybe trying to get Edwin and Pete back is probably what they're higher on their priority list than grabbing Tucker, but maybe they get involved too. You kind of just assume all major markets. I'm sure the Astros will kick the tires. I just don't know, Ryan, how many times have we talked about it when a team trades you because, they traded Tucker because they didn't think they were going to be able to sign him. So I don't know if suddenly after one off season that's changed enough to where they're like, never mind, we're all in on Tucker.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying the Stros, man. Kyle Tucker wasn't a college guy, by the way. His brother Preston is older, went to Florida. The ties down there, down in the southeast, or I guess it's still the
Florida though.
What?
I think he was committed to Florida.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But what I'm saying is, being from down south there, for Kyle, I mean, look, I think he is more of an East Coast guy than a West Coast if I were to put my finger on it, but at the same time, it's off seasons. You go back there and live whenever you want. So that would be the one thing working against him going to LA. And so Kyle's going to be, again, one of the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of players that are going to go, hey, I'm good. I'm going to get a lot of money. I'm the Kevin Oestreicher of the MLB free agency, right?
Some might say.
Yeah, some might say that he's going to choose, just like Corbin Burns, just like Max Fried. You're going to choose, and you can get a good contract and be where you want to go. But what do you maximize and prioritize in your career? The one thing, though, I will say to close out with the Cubs in that whole situation, I am trying to understand what the Cubs are trying to do, because you let Shota walk, couldn't come to an agreement on that deal. You say you could re-sign him. Kyle Tucker was going to test free agency, but what are you going to do? Because you have a team that you still are expected to compete in the Central, and you're the Cubs. Like, people expect the Cubs to be solid. They expect them to contend. But right now, I have no idea of what the landscape's going to be, because they also need pitching and they also need offense.